I've put too much force on the front side and it cracked. It's not very nice, but roughly the shape that it's supposed to have. This is the worst block ever, I think. When using the engine, the water keeps pouring in. Hi guys, this is an extra video of me building a Spindrift, and this video is all about the things that went wrong or the things that I would do differently when building another Spindrift or another nesting dinghy. I've made quite a large list, and I will put the list on the side so you can read it as well. And I've divided the list in 3 different parts. First, all the things that went wrong, or all the things that I would do differently when building another. And second, all the things that went good, because there are some things that went very good or were very helpful when building the Spindrift. And the third part is all about the tooling. I've made some tooling in the list that are from great value for me. So the tooling that were really helpful and I would recommend. And you have to use a lot of more tooling, of course, but these tools are very good for me when building the Spindrift. So then is the question, would I build a Spindrift again? And the answer is yes. The Spindrift is very easy to build, and the steps are clear. I never built another type of nesting dinghy, but yeah, the drawing for me worked out fine. So and I know how to build, and I know how to read the drawings for now. So I would definitely build another Spindrift. And as for the size, I've chosen for the 10 feet Spindrift, but after measuring it on our deck of the sailboat, I could use an 11 feet, so I definitely go for the 11 feet Spindrift. Just a little bit longer, wider, maybe a little bit more stable. But the 10 is great, and I think the 9 is good as well, so lots of choice there. So yeah, let's go through the list and all the details, and let's find out all the things that went bad or went good. Okay, here we go. Firstly, I want to say about the plywood. I've used the Okame plywood, and it is really easy to work with, and you need the Okame definitely for this boat, because actually I think for every boat, because Okame is more water resistant than other plywood, so I really recommend to use the Okame wood. Yeah, then the gunwales. The gunwales went horribly wrong because I did not understand the drawing quite right. So it is built from 3 layers, and I've tried to make it from 1 piece of wood, but it broke at the front. And the strength that will give 3 layers, you need the strength because of the inner side of the bulkhead. I think this will be wobbly. And on the drawing, it says to not glue the inner side of the side panels and the bottom panels before you attach the gunwale. So first the gunwales, then glue the inside, and this is to prevent make the side hollow. But would I do it again, because I glued this before I put on the gunwales, and I do not see any hollow parts or hollow side panels. So for me it has turned out quite good, but maybe you have to stick at the drawing, first put on the gunwales and then glue the inside. Then the bulkhead, that went terribly wrong because the mast is not in the middle, as you can see. I hope you can see that it is out of center, and it is all because of the top board here. I would I assumed that the side panels were symmetrical and the board could be glued in, and I did not measure the mast hole into the center of the boat. So you have to measure the hole of the top panel into the center of the boat before you glue this to the side panels. And as for the front bulkhead here, I made a new one because the old did not fit. I had a gap around here, and I think because this is at every boat different, the way you mount the bottom panels. So I think I should have made the front bulkhead in a carton shape, and then take over the measurements, take over the shape, and then make it from Okame plywood. But yeah, that was a minor mistake. I only had to make a new bulkhead, so no harm done. And then the mast adjustment. The adjusters made from aluminium, are they really helpful? I would say it is nice to try them, but I've put them in and I've maybe turned them 2 times while testing, but I think they will be like this forever. So would I recommend these adjusters? Not really. So, but it's nice to have them, but you don't need them. So, yeah. And for the mast, I've made it from carbon, and I've bought 2 surf masts, actually very, very cheap. They were 40 euros, but they are not that stiff as I would have thought. So I will try this summer with some rigging. I want to make a forestay and some side rigging on the mast, and hope that it will be more stiffer and that it will turn out quite good. But that's just only a test. Maybe I recommend the aluminium mast. I did not build the aluminium mast, so I don't have the experience, but I don't know. It's more expensive because this mast is actually very cheap, and you can make the connections with the glass fiber as well. So it is light. So yeah, I don't know. If you have the chance or have a mast, you can make it from carbon, and I think aluminium will be fine as well. And as for the mast's foot, it went good, but it took me ages to build this thing. So it's horrible to make this. But when I had the grinder disc that I used for the centerboard, it would be a lot easier. I did not know of this kind of disc before I made the centerboard, so I ordered this at Amazon. But when I had this disc, this would be very easy to make. And about the sail, I think I would make the sail for the next time myself, because this is rather expensive and it is quite nice and quite good. But yeah, I think I would try to make a sail for myself. I got some old. I've got an old Genoa, so maybe I can make it from the old Genoa. But then again, I am very happy and satisfied with this sail, and it looks very nice. But yeah, like I said, it's very expensive. Okay, and now the deckboard trunk. The centerboard is okay. We'll come to that later. But the deckboard trunk itself, when using the outboard engine, there is a problem with the deckboard trunk, and I want to show you the video right now. We got a little problem with the deckboard trunk. When using the engine, the water keeps pouring in every wave, so I need to install maybe something inside to prevent coming water in. Okay, and then the centerboard. The centerboard is looking very good, and it is still straight, but I've made it not according to the drawing. I've made it from okame, but then laminated together. So I've used 3 different okame plywood, laminated with the thickened epoxy, and then grinded away. It is very easy to make the centerboard like this, but I don't know if it will last. So this is just a test, and I hope to inform you later this summer again. I've made some extra keel strips as well, and just to prevent to touch the side of the boat when storing the boat on the hard surface. So the bottom keel is always touching the surface, of course, and then I would like to see the boat resting on this keel as well when putting on the ground, but it is not actually. Over here it is, but in the middle it is still touching the side of the boat. Yeah, are they helpful? I don't know. I did not sail them without. Yeah, it's looking good. So would I do it again? Yeah, I think so. Maybe when sailing in a corner, it just helps a little bit stay in line. I don't know, but I think I would do it again. The rudder is not made according to the drawing, not completely. The rudder stick is not made as it should be. I want to use an OptiPart aluminium rudder stick, and I've bought some OptiPart parts as well. And the aluminium rudder stick has bended over here, so it did not work quite well. So now I've made a solution to laminate okame plywood and reinforced with the stainless plate at the bottom. And this is working very, very good. It is really stiff. Got some great feeling in it, but yeah, it's not how it's supposed to be made. Then the mounting of the rudder, I've bought the OptiParts, and very cheap, but not okay, because every time I want to sail, the rudder came out. Because the rudder wants to float, and it came out of the pin over here. So I was sailing without the rudder, and I've made a solution. I've made some thread on the pin of this pin, and I could now turn a nut on the pin, so it is really tight and fixed. But the downside of it is that every time I want to build up the rudder, I need a wrench to make the rudder attached to the boat. So, but it is working. Would I do it again? No, definitely. I have to find a solution for this. And now for the painting. The Spindrift is painted in RAL 9010. And it is with a coat of double D coating, and it is easy to work with. You got a nice result, so the coating is okay. But would I do it again in the double D? No, definitely not, because I'm now working with the Perfection Pro on our sailboat, and this paint is much better than the double D. And I want to show you the differences between the double D and the Perfection Pro right now. There are some downsides on the coat, and it is a 2-component system, so you have the paint and the hardener, so it is really hard, but the dry time I believe is a problem, because this is dust dry within 2 hours. But it dries very hard, so if you want to paint large surfaces, it can be a problem because of the dry time, and it makes the surface a bit wobbly. It is not very smooth. It is a bit like an orange skin, an orange I don't know how you call it, but it is a bit wobbly. So I've seen on the internet on a vlog refitting Athena, and he uses an International Perfection Pro. So I have ordered the Perfection Pro and tested with it, and I can say it is really good actually. It does not smell as hard as a double coat. It is much easier. You have to wear a face mask anyway, so that's no problem at all. But the benefit is the dry time. It is just dry in 5 or 6 hours, depending on the temperature, of course. In my case, I have to use a ground layer, the Perfection undercoat, and a top layer, the Perfection Pro. And I've chosen the brush roller that you can use with a roller. And I use the Handsaw roller, and I tested also a lot with rollers. And I believe that the Handsaw is the far away the best roller to use it in combination with or the polyester, the Double D, or the Perfection Pro. Really good. And yeah, so after using the undercoat and grind it with 320, you can use the Perfection Pro. I am putting 3 layers of Perfection Pro in the color 9010, and between every layer I will grind it with 400, and the first and the last I will grind with 600, so it will be very smooth. And try to avoid dust, of course, to make a clean surface, and the area wetten the floor as well. So I will show that later, but I believe the Perfection Pro is a really good paint to paint with. It says it is for a professional use only. I've ordered with the company, but you can order this private as well. You have to use a combination. Of course, it's a system, paint, hardener, and I use a 5% thinner to make it more smooth surfaces. It is very liquid, more liquid than the Double D. You have to use less. That is also a benefit, I believe. You can paint more with 1 gallon than with a double coat. Okay, and now the soft sand particles. I have made some gripper on the bottom of the boat, and I've used the soft sand particles in the painting, and I am very satisfied with it because of you have more grip. This is really slippery. The normal paint is slippery, and soft sand is preventing to be slippery when wet. And but I did it wrong, because you have to paint it completely, and then just for one surface paint it with the paint that you use, and then put in the soft sand particles, and then let it dry and repaint the surface again. And I did the complete surface, and the particles went up to the side, so I had to repaint the complete inner side again. I have to varnish every wooden part that is put in unthickened epoxy. You have to varnish because it is becoming white after using. You can see it at the rudder. It is completely white, so I have to grind it a little bit and then put in varnish, I think 3 or 4 layers, and then it stays good. The rowing pedals are okay, they are varnished, but the unthickened epoxy will become white after using, so it's not a big issue, but you have to paint it. Okay, these are all the things that I would do differently, and now for the things that I would use definitely again when building another Spindrift. Okay, here we go. Firstly, I think you can remember that I've used tie wraps to stitch the boat, I've used smaller ones before that broke, but after that I used thicker tie wraps and it went great. So I really recommend using the tie wraps instead of steel wire because it is much easier to work with. And then the inspection hatches. The inspection hatches are good as well. They are positioned correctly. I had some doubts of the rear inspection hatch. Putting it in the middle. I want to put it a bit to the front, but I cannot reach the end, so you have to put it in the middle. It is good. Okay, now the rowing attachment. I've used the fixed rowing attachment, and I can say it is really working good. The boat is rowing very good, and you can let go of the pedals. They will not come off, and they are just tightly fit, so it is working very good. And as for the reinforcement of the rear seats, I've put in reinforcement inside of the rear seat, and it went very good. It was just a test, it was not in the manual, and you needed to have a bit stiffer. It is not. It is really hard. It is incredible because of only a piece of wood inside will give you a much more strength. So I would definitely use the reinforcement of the rear seat again. I have to make a protection rubber kind of thing on the side of the gunwale. But I've made a small rear gunwale to walk through at the end. It is not in the manual, because in the manual it just stops right here. And I've made a little bit of a gunwale at the back side. It is looking, I think it's looking quite nice. So really satisfied with this. I've turned some aluminium rings to put the traveler rope through, and I am also satisfied with the rings as well. I've put the roller, the main sheet roller, more to the back. I thought it was a bit more in the middle, or maybe over the middle, but then you have to pull from the middle, and now you can pull more from the back. So yeah, I'm satisfied using the roller more at the end. When using the outboard engine and sitting on the rear seat and giving a half throttle, maybe full throttle, the bow of the boat will go extremely high. This is because of the weight. You're sitting at the back, and the outboard engine is at the back. So yeah, I will make a longer throttle handle, and I can sit in the middle and using the outboard engine while sitting in the middle. And I got some carbon mast left, so I will make the throttle handle from carbon. Okay, these are all the things that I would recommend to do or not to do. And now for the third part, and that is all about tooling. I want to show you what kind of tools that I would really recommend to use. First thing, the handsaw. I use all my tooling with the battery. It is light and useful, and this is adjustable, and it really helped. I've done a lot with this handsaw, so recommend the handsaw. And then for the grinder, everybody has a grinder, but this is eccentric, and I've done a lot with the grinder. I even replaced the bed because it was just gone. So yeah, really recommend the eccentric grinder. And then the Dremel. I've used a Dremel. Everybody uses a Dremel, I think. But I've ordered this little box of wood tooling, and I've made all the edges and holes with the wood tooling. It is really nice to have. It's not that very expensive. So yeah, if you are able to use the Dremel, yeah, it is recommended. And then the grinder disc that I've talked a lot about. Yeah, this is coming really handy. It is so good to use the grinder disc. It's fast. You can be accurate with this when using little force. It is easy to work with. So, Amazon. And then just a small tip. This screw clamp, you can't have enough screw clamps. I got maybe 18 pieces, but sometimes I wish for more, for let's say 25 or 30 clamps, so you can't have enough of these screw clamps. So yeah, that was it, and I hope to see you this summer again with testing out the Mast. And would I build another Spindrift? Definitely. I think I am planning, when I'm finished with our sailboat refit, I will build maybe an 11 feet Spindrift again. So, thank you for watching. See you.